Alright, you thought we were done? Not even close.
So, here we are, diving deep into deep conversations, motherfucker. Oh, you just cursed. That offended me. I'm Sean Kneese, and this is Let's Talk About the Deep Stuff podcast, off the cuff and candid conversations about the big topics in the world, and the deep introspective topics, diving deep into yourself, too. And joined with me is my co-host Harrison Storms.
Hey, guys.
And today I wanted to talk about overcoming negative self-talk and developing a better inner monologue and better talking to yourself in a better way, and how that can affect you in a positive way. And as I've mentioned on the show before, I'm someone who's struggled with depression, anxiety. I would say depression has been the more... Well, definitely anxiety affected me more when I was younger, but I feel like that's a different topic. Like, I was afraid to try a lot of new things, do a lot of new things, but on the topic of depression, I feel like, and this was why it was an interesting, because I met you guys, Harrison and John, who's our other good friend. I met you guys while I was in a pretty low spot, and I was feeling really depressed, and you guys kind of helped me get out of that. And I think I've talked about on the show before, like how, I mean, it's people who haven't been who don't have depression. Like, it's hard for them to understand it from an outside perspective. Because to me, it's more than just being sad or like being in a negative mood about something. It's kind of I would describe it as like, you know, when you get a cold or you get the flu or something like that. It's something you kind of have to work through and overcome and understand where it comes from, and that you have to heal. Like you wouldn't, like, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, if someone's being depressed, oh, they're being negative. Like, why are you always, like, why are you negative? Like, oh, but what about this person? What about that person who did this and that? And, you know, they went through all this and they're still strong. And then, of course, then someone says that, and it's like, all right, so we're agreeing. Like, I am a piece of shit. Like, I can't even handle this. Like, you're telling me, like,
you ain't no piece of shit, Sean.
But no, I'm saying, like, that's like when you're in that mindset, like how
you
like,
feel
people think
weighted down.
Yeah, and then like people think that's helpful to say, oh, this person's been through this and that, and they're still strong. And then it's like, okay, now I feel even worse. Like,
right? Like, I'm not being strong in a second, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
You are being strong, though. You're fighting through it.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, a lot of people. Of course, like there's different variants of depression. Like, a lot of people sometimes say if someone was suicidal, or they committed suicide, they did it as a selfish act. And I don't really agree with that, because I feel like people who do feel things, a lot of depressed people do feel things on a deep level.
Yeah.
And they do empathize with other people. But sometimes empathizing with other people and all, like,
makes it worse.
It makes it worse. Like, you take in, like, all their pain too. Like,
yeah.
At least that's happened with
you're an empath.
Yeah.
You feel everybody.
When someone's terminally ill and there's a lot of physical pain, and the pain is just so unbearing, they want to leave this world. Like, people don't... I mean, some people condemn it. Like, usually it's, like, from a religious perspective or whatever, but, like, it's because they want to stop the pain. It's not that they're selfish or they don't care about the people around them. It's just the suffering is so great. And I think that that's more where suicidal people are. So I think just telling them they're selfish, I don't think that helps, because, like, they're already in a lot of pain, so it's like, I can't even leave this pain, or I'm being selfish, so it's like, how do I win? Like, you want to, like, I think just, like, invalidating the person, or, like, not, or condemning them for being, or feeling what they're feeling isn't right. I think it's just something you kind of got to listen to, you got to kind of be there for, you got to be there with them while they're going through it, and it's just something they got to work through. And I think just hearing them, and just, like, you know, because it might not, like, maybe someone who doesn't have depression wouldn't understand it, but I think just hearing them and kind of just, like, validating, like, their experience and what they're saying, like, I think that just does, I think that's just, like, a very helpful way to go about it. I don't know if you have anything to add from something I said or?
No, I love what you're saying. Depression is very hard, it seems. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not somebody who gets depression. Like, I've definitely felt that weight. You get sick if you hear a really bad news that you don't want.
Yeah.
You literally almost get sick, and I think there are ways to deal with it that are better, and there are ways that people deal with it that are bad. Like, a lot of people smoke, drink.
Yeah. Well, that's why there's a strong link between, mental health issues and substance abuse, and that's why you see a lot of homeless people are both mentally ill and drug addicts.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, and it's interesting because depression, it really is a chemical in your brain, and some people don't get it, some people do.
Yeah.
I'm happily one of the people who don't, and I've had some of the shittiest things happen to me, and I still just okay. Well, where can I? How can I make my situation better? And I work on that, and it's never affected me. But some people have like really bad anxiety and just keep thinking about the big problem at hand, and it's like, no. First, you have to look at the problem and solve it. That's how I've always felt, and that's why I feel like I don't get depressed, because right away, if I have an issue, I'm like, boom, 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 let's deal with it. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't want to harm anybody, and I don't want to harm myself, so how are we going to work on it?
And I guess that's kind of like where my anxiety or OCD kind of plays into it, because I get in like negative thought loops if I do one.
I've noticed you, Sean.
Yeah, you do.
Sean likes to reminisce about things he's done and or mistakes he's made, and I'm like, Sean, that happened 2 years ago. It's funny, but I think he's getting over it slowly.
Yeah, well, and you guys have definitely helped me through a lot of that too. Well, and you, as you've told me, I've helped you with a lot of stuff.
You have.
Like,
You've got me more on a straight path of like what I want, and I love doing this cast with you.
Yeah.
I now have a place in Elizabeth I like. I enjoy. Well, I mean, it's not the best, I would like to be able to have friends and family over, which I can't. But whatever.
Yeah. And they got some good food.
I'm not homeless, Hey.
They got some good food in the area and all that too.
Exactly. Like, But you have helped me a lot. Thinking more like an adult. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because like, and sometimes I focus on the ways that maybe ways I'm still immature and like ways I need to mature. But I think in a lot of ways I also sometimes I don't give myself enough credit for like the ways I have matured and the ways I am mature and the things I am doing right too. Yeah. So like some people never look at their flaws and never try to work on those, but I think sometimes I fall into the other extreme of just only focusing on the flaws or what I did wrong. I think I'm always wrong in this situation.
But the thing is, like, you are not. You're just overthinking. You're overthinking the whole situation at times, and it's like, what? No. You didn't do that.
Yeah.
What?
And I think some of that probably is linked to the depression, like the anxiety. It's like. It's just like a way of like, it's sort of a negative filter through seeing the world, like seeing in the worst, like possible way. Like you do one thing that's rude and maybe somebody's mad at you. And with the like with my mind, then it's just like, I fucking did this, and like that means like I was terrible when I did that, and that's why that person hates me, and that's why I'm shitty, and like this and that.
You're going off about it now. Yeah. You're getting in your head about it. It's just like everything leads to another, and when in reality, the person who started off ain't even thinking about the whole situation, Yeah. You're in your head about something that happened.
And usually if someone's holding a grudge, it's usually, well, I can understand holding a grudge if you did something really shitty to someone. Like, but more than like any ordinary kind of thing. Like if you really like abuse someone when we're like terrible to them and they don't want to forgive you for that, I understand. But like if it's just like a minor thing or something and they're holding a grudge, usually it's just like something about them and their ego and like you don't need to get caught up in that. If you apologize, you say what you have to say, you do what you have to do, then you just improve from there. And if they want to hold a grudge, that's more about them.
It's up to them. It's up to them to decide. if they want you back in their life, or which is annoying and sad, but hey, it's how it goes.
Yeah. Me, I like to give people second chances. Like only if they're capable of like self-reflecting on their behavior, which I notice sadly a lot of people aren't. But
yeah, some people just ignore it.
Yeah, or like it's like they're protecting their ego. Like a lot of people are like, I guess it's kind of a narcissistic tendency that people are just like, oh no, that I can't be wrong in this situation because I need to protect my ego and who I am. But it's like you can still have a strong sense of who you are and be like, man, I
messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's... I love when people come out and actually apologize, or it's like they're in their head like, oh man, I really did fuck up, like you said.
Yeah.
Like, example. My ex, she has done so much and bitches at everybody, but never said sorry to one of us.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, you're gonna say you're texting all of us, blowing us up, thinking we care. Well, we would probably care more if you just was like, I messed up.
Yeah, if she just like said, hey, I'm sorry about this or that.
But it's like you said, it's all her ego.
Yeah, and I was even being somewhat nice and like, trying.
You were very nice. I wasn't mad at you, but I was like, Sean, like, why are you fucking being nice? Yeah. But you actually did the right thing, and it worked.
Yeah.
Well,
and then she just started sending me a bunch of insults.
Yeah. You bigot. Yeah, Sean. Yeah. What the hell? No, screw that, man. We don't need that in our lives. Oh no! I dropped my phone.
Yeah, but what so that's kind of what I want, and now getting into the next part of this,
You're good. Continue.
And getting into the next part of this, that's kind of this whole negative thought loops and everything is part of why what drew me to the teachings of Neville Goddard, who I've mentioned, and the writings of James Allen, which is kind of using your thoughts in your mind in a way to kind of, in a more productive way. So like it kind of was, when I was reading the writings, it was kind of teaching me about like ruminating in a positive way. Like how do you use your thoughts to shape reality into what you want? And of course I also was drawn to Buddhism and like meditation, like mindfulness and that kind of thing since I was young, because it was as a way to kind of get me out of that, like just getting stuck in my head and overthinking things and just kind of going with the moment. But I think both could be useful, like ruminating and thinking in a positive way. And he just Harrison just put a stamp on me.
I'm shipping my mans.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Sean. Continue.
Mail order husband here for any woman listening that's interested.
Mail order, shipping them out today. Yep. UPS red, baby.
Yeah, and Russian Jewish descent too. I know.
Sorry for wasting one of your stamps, Sean. I mean, you can still use it. I just wanted to pick on you while you were talking. Yeah. Continue. I was focusing, but not.
Yeah. Yeah. So, because Neville Goddard has a quote, and I mentioned this in another podcast. Like, change your conception of yourself, and it'll automatically change the world in which you live. Do not try to change others. They're only mirrors telling you who you are. So I think a lot of that's got me into try to ruminate in a positive way. And I guess one technique I was trying to teach myself is like, rather than regretting, like, because sometimes I regret, I should have done that, I should have done this. Like I try to think like I'll use like this is kind of like I guess a lighter example. Like if one day I'm like, okay, I eat McDonald's. I don't eat McDonald's. I rarely eat McDonald's now, but like
liar. No, I'm kidding.
But like if I eat something like unhealthy, then I'm kind of like, I should have ate the healthier meal.
I should
have done that. But then I try to reverse. Now lately I've been trying to reverse that and be like, okay, next time I will do this.
Yeah.
Next time I will do that, and then that's more of like a positive, like putting it in a positive.
Absolutely. No,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because there are definitely times where you'll like I'll go out from work and go pick a McDonald's and be like, oh, I'm gonna regret that later. And then the next day you're like, nope, I'm gonna eat a salad. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. But eating healthy, I think, it does get you in a more positive
absolutely
mindset. And I think exercise and eating healthy also, like, both are very good with depression getting yourself out of negative and feeling better about yourself too. I know I'm just thinking, like, because you guys both smoke cigarettes, and occasionally, like, we're having some drinks or whatever, and like you guys are smoking a cigarette, I'll bum one. I've never been addicted or like what, but like now, like earlier today, I worked out, and I was kind of like, nah, I don't really feel like having a cigarette. Because it's like you're in a healthy mindset. You're living healthily. Like
you already have that buzz you want from the workout.
Yeah. And even just like walking more, especially in
I love walking and jogging around town because you figure out the area, you see what's going on.
Yeah.
It really is a natural high.
Yeah.
You get from working out and just going on a walk.
Yeah.
All that sun you get if it's a nice day out.
And I think that's like people who live in the city probably get more of that. Like I think a lot of people who live in like.
Why is it? It's not just the city.
Because people in the city walk more places. Like
true.
Like I think people.
But all those buildings block that nice sun on you.
Yeah. True. But I mean, as far as like walking and like rather than just like driving everywhere.
Yeah. True. Yeah. No, walking does relaxes the mind. It's like I would say that's arbitrary. It's all opinion, right? I mean, whatever relaxes you. Yeah. But as long as you to do the things that make you better.
Yeah.
I think it's the best to stay away from self-harm and depression.
Yeah. And ways of looking at like negative experiences in a positive way, or like seeing like how can this make me better? How can this like how what did I learn from this? Like doing this wrong, how am I going to do this right in the future? And lately, like I've also been like when I talk about ruminating positively, I've been thinking like, okay, what is it that excites me in life? And I think that this excites me, like talking about my own things that have helped me and kind of helping others through it, like maybe if other people are in a dark place, helping them get out of that, and also listening to other people and their stories and their experiences and kind of putting that out there too. That's something that really excites me, and that's why I got into podcasting, and that's something I've been focused on, like how do I grow this show, like what do I want to go forward from here, like expanding this, and like I've been more focused on like goals with that recently, and like more goals with which each episode, what kind of goal am I gonna have?
He's trying to expand himself.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
No, Sean, I think you are doing it well. You work hard and you focus on things you like. It's just about staying out of your head.
Yeah. You know? Or if you're gonna get in your head in a good way, like productive, like okay, what do I?
Yeah, pull yourself together. Don't throw the pieces everywhere. Pick them all up and be like, let's do something with this.
Yeah.
You know, throw your pieces out to somewhere that matters.
Yeah. And then having that kind of like being centered in yourself, having that inner thing that doesn't depend on whatever's going on in the outside world or what someone else is thinking or someone else's behavior.
Yeah, don't act on other people's thoughts. Be yourself. Do what you want. Yeah. You know, if that's what makes you happy, that's what I've done my entire life. And I felt like if you change for somebody else, that's when you get upset. Yeah. You know, because you feel on the inside that you're not yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like I did that when I was younger for girls or like in situations where I was in a new relationship. And I would say something to them where it wasn't me, you know. I would tell them I do this. I mean, it's not that I was lying, or I didn't lie about not doing it. It's just it wasn't something I did all the time, or, you know, you try to make a false reality. Yeah. And after I matured, it was just, oh wow, I was so stupid when I was little.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to develop a real connection with someone, so transparency and vulnerability is really the way to go to it, you know. If you're pretending to be some kind of cool person or to impress them, that person isn't really you. So they like don't get to know you. They'll
be yourself, and
they'll get to know you. And they'll see you're not that, so they're not gonna like stick around that long if they see you're not that. So
or they realize you're trying to be it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There are so many turns and pulls on this topic with that because the human mind is so unique. So many people do weird things to expand themselves or keep them out of being depressed when once somebody realizes a lie or something stupid, I feel people they're like, oh man, but those are the liars, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm saying that because when I was little, I used to do that dumb shit.
Well, like try to impress her.
Yeah, try to impress with something I didn't have, you know.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, it's. And once you realize that doesn't work, I feel like you become so much more humble and you learn.
And I think vulnerability is like something that's even more expected nowadays. And vulnerability doesn't mean, oh, you're just feeling sorry for yourself or you're being weak. Vulnerability is you're putting out who you are out there.
Means you're open.
Or going for what you want, and you're unattached to the outcome.
Yeah.
Like, for example, vulnerability is not okay. I'm gonna go out of my way to get this job. It's like I'm gonna go out of my way to get this job, and like even if I fail, like I'm okay with the failure. I'm willing to take that, or I'm gonna ask this person out because I really I like them, I'm interested in them, and the vulnerability is like I'm okay with putting that out there, and whatever the response is, it is like I'm okay with that. Like that's making yourself vulnerable. That's a positive way of making yourself. A lot of people think vulnerable is just like being weak, but it's
it's two different definitions. Vulnerable, I think people like relate in a bad way, like you just said, but in reality, you're usually a lot smarter if you're vulnerable because you're willing to take in things and willing to realize, oh shit, I made this mistake. Yeah. How can I overcome it now?
And that's what I've been exploring more with this new show. Like, is my own vulnerability, and like I've been surprised like how many people told me they relate. Like in the first episode I was talking about like some things I've needed to work on and like how I've gotten better at them and just being totally honest about it. And like so many people told me like, wow, I related to that. And that newsletter I wrote where I talked about it, like so many people were like, wow, I enjoyed reading it. And like I got better responses from that than like anything on like my old show.
Sean, you are a goddamn good writer. I have to tell you that. Some of the things you send me, oh my god, I'm like, shit. This man should be writing for a fucking TV show or something. I swear, man, you're an amazing writer. I wish you had an opportunity to do it more.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Yeah, and a lot of people like, and I enjoy the different style. Like I like doing like feature stories.
I was watching the red.
I like doing feature stories and like writing about like not, I guess, nonfiction writing and talk about my own experiences or writing prose poetry, but I also like fiction too and like creating characters, creating stories and that as well. Like I kind of like both.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I and the things you've written and sent to me, like you and I, actually this is kind of with the topic because, so to say, a cure for depression, right? You're doing something you like. Me and Sean, once Sean helped me out for a while when I was homeless. He brought me in. I stayed here for a while. Every night we would play Skyrim together, and it was the best.
Yeah.
It's a complete distraction from the chemical that's flowing through your brain, and it lifts you up. That's why people play video games. That's why like parents get annoyed because you end up focusing on only that when you're depressed. You pick something that makes you happy to keep you out of depression. So kids go to video games if they're depressed, which isn't a problem.
And then they blame the kid for playing video games, but it's like, okay, why are they absorbing themselves?
Yeah,
what needs of theirs aren't being met? Like,
yeah, the kid's 12 years old, but he's depressed. Come on, you can change that. The parents have the power to change that.
Okay, and I just remembered, I interviewed somebody on my old podcast. I think it was it was a comedian, Joseph Mauricio, on my old podcast.
Oh, I think I watched it.
Yeah, and he was on our podcast too, the new one too. But like he in the old episode on BSing with Sean Kay, he said like I said, like he was saying like, oh, about something about parents like worried about their kids listening to metal. It's like devil music. What? And then he said something like, but they're listening to that and they're hating you. So rather than judging them from that, what is it like you're not doing right as a parent? Like
Yeah.
what needs are you like? I don't think listening to metal is even a bad thing.
It's not at all.
But like I'm just saying, if they're thinking it's a bad thing, it's like
Well, it's just a stereotype from their generation.
Yeah.
You know,
Same
our
with,
generation is completely different.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing like how rap isn't all just about like shooting it. Like there's a lot of good rap with like intelligent lyrics.
Oh my
it's
God.
a very diverse genre. Like
Oh my God,
Yeah.
dude, rap's insane.
Yeah.
That's why I actually love rap.
It's
now.
only when something becomes commercial, it becomes dumbed down, and it's like just becomes a product that
they make it a moneymaker.
Yeah.
If the more attention to it, the more ads they can put on it, and boom,
Yeah.
they make millions of dollars.
Yeah, and that could be a whole other interesting project.
Oh my God, we are so getting out of the topic of depression, but I love this conversation. Sean.
And recently, I've already so getting back to the I've listened to the audiobook of this before. Now I'm rereading this. It's it's about radical acceptance. It's
Harry Potter erotica.
No, not Harry Potter.
Oh, darn it!
But it's
sorry.
It talks about acceptance. Like acceptance isn't necessarily that you don't want to change something. So if you accept negative parts of yourself, it's not like, okay, this is who I am. But it's more like if you accept it and you don't judge it, then you're more likely to work on it, and you're more likely to get yourself out of that than if you're judging yourself from it. Because then you might not want to look at it. Then you might not want to face it. But if you accept like certain things about yourself, or you accept things about you don't like in the moment, then you can kind of more get out of that. Or also, like if you're able to accept yourself at your worst, then you can be happy. Like then.
See, that's the thing. You can only grow from your worst. That's what. I mean, I don't know. I was a dumbass from the age of 17 and on for a while, and now I'm almost 27 years old, and I'm in this stage of my life where I'm like, oh my God, I was so stupid. I just wanted to party, do drugs, fucking go drink. Sadly, I got a DUI, and I mean, it's changed my life. It has. I don't think I would be here with Sean if I didn't get it, because I left school, went to Florida for years, and then now I'm here, chilling with my boys, happy, but it was all big learning experience because I didn't let it all get to me, and I knew I was being stupid. And now the only thing I can do is grow from it.
Yeah.
So once you realize that, why let depression get to you? It's like, okay, if I better myself, I'll be good. I'll be happy. I'll be clear-minded.
Yeah, you should learn, like, you can look at the mistakes as a gift. Like, oh, now next opportunity, I know what to do different.
Everything happens for a reason, is the saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that's good about you, because like I dealt with a lot of people in the past who weren't self-aware. I like that you're, self-aware. I used to have people around me that I couldn't tell them anything, like, or they like. I actually had one friend at one point that like, if I told him any kind of criticism, he'd like go psycho and like explode and like just be like, it's and like I remember we're even gonna make a joke out of this.
Yeah,
like,
no, the last episode
that you were interrupting a lot.
I felt so bad. I mean, I'll be on the side.
And then when I said like, we gotta talk about the last podcast, and then you were like, yeah, I know. And before I even said it, you were like, yeah, I know, I interrupted too much. Like,
I even said once in the episode, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, and then Melanie's like, you're doing it, Harrison.
I felt bad. I just get really excited about topics, and I think self-reflection is very important, because the people who do self-reflect are the only ones who grow.
Yeah. And I know people, like, they never self-reflect. They're the same person they were, like, 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So it's, and not only don't they better as people, like, they just live a very dull life, because you're not learning, you're not growing, you're not hearing,
No, you're right. I love that.
Well, it's not 40 minutes yet, but I feel like...
I loved this episode,
Yeah.
Sean. I think we're good at 30. I think we're good at 30 today.
Yeah. I feel like we should end on some kind of note, or what we should...
Yeah. I'd love to say, for people who are depressed out there, pick yourself up, gather the pieces that you think are bothering you, and analyze them, look at them, and look at what you can change about it, because it will change your life. You won't get that heavy feeling in the morning when you wake up. You will want to wake up.
Yeah.
You don't want to sleep 24 hours. Like, I mean, to be honest, like, I know I don't get depressed, but the few times I have, I know if I was like that every day, I wouldn't want to do anything ever. And I'd probably want to fucking jump off a bridge, which
that's
do
what people,
not.
Yeah, and that's what people with clinical depression are dealing with.
Yeah.
It's hard to,
Every day. So, you feel that, you just feel probably 100 pounds heavier. Like, I don't know.
And that's people
stay strong, my friends.
Yeah, and also like finding what gets you out of bed and excites you. And that's like with me, and that's what I'm trying to focus on more. Is like, and go on.
No, I said I love that. It's what you need to, what people need to do.
And I posted this on. I thought I'd share something I posted on Instagram to kind of close the episode too. I said, you might feel like a failure. You might feel like you're not a good person. I may not know you, but I know you're trying, and I respect you for that. Don't give up. I'm glad you exist.
I love that. Yeah. Everyone needs to know that you are cared for somewhere. Yeah. You are. Don't let... I mean, there are, 8 billion people on the planet? So... you can't be liked by all of them. You're going to have your hard times and
if you are like... nobody who's like... if you're going to go out there and be vulnerable, you got to expect... you got to respect that some people won't like you. Because honestly, if everybody likes you, you aren't doing anything important.
True.
Like, was Martin Luther King liked by everybody? No. I mean, he got shot.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
People... seems like that's the best way social media works, too. There are going to be people who hate you and people who love you. You know, the Kardashians, perfect example. People hate the fucking Kardashians, but there are people who love them and play them daily in their room. You know, it's just like...
yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I don't like the whole...
Because if...
celebrity... I fucked that up there. My bad.
Like, people getting famous just for bullshit, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And, like, he talk about the gossip and, like, all that shit. Like, oh, did you hear that she had a baby? Did you hear I don't give a shit? Like, yeah. And I get what you're saying.
I perfectly agree with it. What you said. It's, Martin Luther King was shot for a reason. It's because he was making change. People don't like change.
Yeah.
I think change is needed. People, hoarders. My lovely parents. My mom likes to keep everything from garbage to fucking pieces of shit in the house. Yeah. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing over here? Let's get rid of this thing and get something new.
And that's why my Skyrim character sided with the Empire. Because, like, the Stormcloaks were all about...
Skyrim!
Yeah, he was because the Stormcloaks were all about, like, staying in the past. Like, Nords only, even though the Nords weren't even the first...
Skyrim, sponsor us. We'll promote
Elder Scrolls.
Elder... Bethesda. Yeah. Sponsor us, man. We got you guys. Yeah. Make a whole new storyline for the next game.
You can release Skyrim again for the millionth time.
Release Skyrim again for the millionth time.
Let's Talk edition.
Oblivion 2. But guys, this has been co-host Harrison with the main man, the man with the plan, Sean Kneese. We're here to talk about the deep stuff every week. Sean, you have anything else to say?
Just don't be too hard on yourself, and just know that there's somewhere out there, even if you might not feel like it, there's people who care, and there's people who
we've never met you and we care.
Yeah,
that's contact us.
Yeah.
If you want to send us an email, do it. We'll get you on the podcast. You can talk about depression. You can talk about your struggles. Call us.
Yeah.
You can... Sean, what's your email?
SKNEESE eese1989 We also have the podcast email, too. Let's talk about the deep stuff at gmail.com.
Yeah. Contact us. You can even shoot us a text. Contact us at 973-847-4465. We'll get you on. We'd love to talk. We'd love to talk about the deep stuff.
I'm hesitant to put my number because I don't want to get a whole bunch of... I don't know who's listening. Like, I don't want...
I'm going to start getting a buttload of messages like, hey, get me on that cast. But, no. Thank you for our listeners. And you'll hear from us again soon.
Yep. And we're just about at 36 minutes. And that's one of my weird numbers. 36, 45, 54.
Oh, shit. We got to hang up.
We got to hang up.
2 seconds.
30.
Oh, shit!
Let's talk about the deep stuff. Oh shit! I'ma bring my own rock.